this channel, we like to talk about love, life, joy, and peace. And today, my friend, we are going to be talking about these vibrations, quite literally. First off, I wanted to start off, hi Mom, to say I've been thinking a lot about the whole idea of vibes. And I'm not really sure what to say. I don't think that I have all the answers, but I wanted to make this video really simple so somebody who is just beginning their spiritual journey or somebody who's deeply in it can gain value from this video. So vibes, I call myself, Good Vibes Delivery. That's a brand which I totally love. And I will start off by saying what I believe is a vibe and how I define it. I define a vibe as the literal electromagnetic energy that is surrounding all living beings, and the ability for all living beings to connect to this shared energy in this cosmic soup that we live in. When we connect with other living beings, there is a vibe. This is the most simplest form of communication between two beings, is the idea that the vibe can tell you a lot about the status of someone. If you're vibing low, maybe it's slower and it's heavier. If you're vibing high, maybe it's faster. And, so I think this applies to all life. From all of the elements, this is something that connects them all and allows us to dive a little bit deeper. So yeah, vibes I literally think is just energy, electromagnetic energy, and whatever other energy you want to say. I'm just going to keep it with that name. And this energy, of course, can be alchemized to create amazing things. I'm a nerd, if you don't know, especially when it comes to energy. I love it. I love studying the chakras and the energy bodies and the nadis and the different meridian points and the pressure points within the body. I'm also on a plant kick right now, and I'm working horticulturist, which is crazy to say. And so I'm learning a lot about the beings around me and how energetically really everything is impacted. Like the sun right now is sending us vibes through, different kinds of vibes. When you look at the visual light spectrum, you know that there are a lot of other vibes that aren't on there that are also contributing to our experience. So yeah, vibes is such an encompassing, large, it's just like a big idea that I am still wrapping my head around, and I love it because that just means there's more to learn. And I wanted to open up this live talk by just sharing that, because there's so much more that we can learn from these vibes. And so yeah, I'll connect this to the second word in the live, which is channeling. And I really want to talk about channeling, and that's the main focus of today's live talk, our live stream. And then at the end, we'll talk about intention setting, and we'll set an intention before we end this video so that we can move forward and our energy is being directed optimally for what it is that we plan to do next. So without further ado, let's just dive into it, right? Channeling, I really wanted to find a better, simpler word. I didn't want to use channeling because I feel like it's kind of something that, unless you're really already in the community, you probably don't know this definition. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to channel some information. And for me, channeling is just like ChatGPT, but for the spiritual energy within you that can connect to other entities that go beyond this dimension and transcend the consciousness that we have here on Earth, that we have inherited by being connected to an all-omnipotent force, something that is connected to all dimensions, realities, and timelines. So channeling is an amazing thing that we do already. I use the example of a radio and the channels that you can switch to. What are you really doing when you turn the knob on a radio? You're attuning the frequency or the receptor. I'm not a radio some level. The waves of the radio are at different waves, right? They're at different frequencies. And so by maybe, you can only accept this kind of wave. If you turn it a little bit more, now you can only accept this kind of wave. And so that's how it works. You have to find the fit for that frequency to be received so that you can receive that vibration. And very similarly, that's how I believe the world works. I believe that us as humans, we are like antennas. Our spines are the perfect example of this. And that is the core where the energy throughout our body flows through. And I think it's amazing how many people know this, yet forget to take care of their spine. Maybe just doing simple exercises with your spine. Like I'm rotating because maybe I also don't take care of my spine as much as I should, knowing that it's an antenna that literally connects us to the cosmos. So again, we have the ability to change the channel within ourselves. I was listening to a podcast from the Diary of the CEO, and it was crazy. It was about this neuro scientist, and she was talking about habit and how our brains like to find habits as soon as we can to reduce the amount of energy it takes to do something. Our brain pretty much doesn't want to work that hard. It wants to find the lowest level, the biggest divot, and stay within that divot, which means the more that you do something, the easier it becomes. And because of this, it's easy for us to get stuck in a channel. And so this is when the real interesting part comes in. When it comes to channeling, we will channel the same energy over and over and over again because it's easy for us. And when I say channeling and we think about the electromagnetic energy, the energy that is connected to all living beings, it transcends this dimension. And you realize that you are living a life that has prioritized making it easy and prioritizes the habits and the energy and the channels that you already have. Sometimes it's hard, especially when you go through spiritual awakening and your mind is like, oh my God, what I was doing, the habits that I had, I no longer resonate with them. And so there's this dissonance, like you were like this, then all of a sudden your spiritual awakening came, ding, 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 boom. And now you're like, whoa, this is not, reality is not lining up to where I am now spiritually, where my antenna is aligning itself. And so that becomes a whole thing, your chakras, your nadis, your kundalini energy, however you want to define it. This energy is no longer in resonance when you go through a spiritual awakening. Well, what's up, Deshaun? And it makes it hard for you to accept the reality that you were in. And because of that, the habits that you once had that were so deeply ingrained, they also start to become some form of resistance because you no longer want to dive into those habits. So you actively resist it and it feels uncomfy. People in your life that are used to you acting a certain type of way are like, what's happening? Now they're uncomfy because our brains are all trying to just find the easiest channel to stick to. And the same thing happens. We can see this example in social media when you go, or even why you watch the same YouTubers or content creators, because you're familiar with that channel, and that's cool. It's a cool thing, and it's great for stability, but a lot of the times we kind of don't use it in the best way, and it becomes a glue that keeps us stuck instead of moving us forward and encouraging us to find that matching channel. Instead, what can happen is that your channel starts to curve to go back to that old way unless you allow yourself to pretty much not accept anything until the channel changes itself. The vibrations connect to the new channel that you are in, and that is the beauty and the power. So channeling, I also wanted to talk about cord cutting because I think that's a really important part about when you're going through spiritual awakening and when you're allowing yourself to change. You only have so much energy. Technically, you have infinite energy, but that means that you have to be in a constant flow to allow the energy that you let go to return to you, and so on and so forth, which is cool. But for the most part, let's be intentional with our energy, and let's talk a little bit about cutting certain cords so that we're not on a leaky boat, that when we want to have a certain life, we are questioning it and we're doubting it and we're creating holes within our own aura that are open to this doubt and this vibe that we don't necessarily want to come in and start affecting our antenna so that it matches that energy. You get what I'm saying, right? So we want to make sure that we're allowing ourselves to be fortified and allowing our energy and the vibration and the reality that we want to manifest and bring into this world and create to have the highest opportunity to be realized and manifested in our world. So that means that we have to cut some cords. We don't want to have a leaky boat, so we have to, we got to patch up those holes. And so that's the importance of cord cutting. And you don't have to necessarily do any kind of ritual to properly do cord cutting. It can be as simple as giving yourself what's up, the wayward winter? Is good to see you, fam. It's as simple as deciding that you no longer want to interact with that kind of energy or that vibration because it's not serving you and it's not aligning with your channel. That is as simple, and that's as simple as it is. The thing is with cord cutting, sometimes it can be beneficial to be more intentional about it when the cords are stronger. And I talked about that brain, and I talked about that dip, and how, our brain just wants to do the easiest thing a lot of the times. And that's cool, but if you haven't set up, or if you're wanting to change a habit, that means that you're going to be fighting against your brain for a little bit until you establish that new habit, aka that new channel. So that means you have to communicate to yourself and be very clear that I no longer want to be resonating at this frequency, at this vibe. This is no longer the vibe I'm looking to recept. It's too low, it's not matching where I want to be. This is the new channel that I'm looking to vibe with. And so if the energy, the frequency is not matching, it's not going to go, it's not going to influence me because I'm looking to vibe with a perfect match. And that's how really and truly you do it. So why is cord cutting so important when it comes to channeling? Well, the stronger the channel is, and I'm going to talk about how you can strengthen your channel in a second, the harder it is to cut that cord. And channels become stronger when you pour emotions into them. So if you're frustrated at your channel because it's like, man, you're like, you had your spiritual awakening, then, close friends and family are like, why did you change? And they're of course maybe sharing negative energy, or it's making you feel kind of a low vibe. That might affect your channel, and because you're feeding into that energy. So the more you feed into that energy, which simply means where are your emotions going, how are you feeling, the more that energy is going to impact your channel. So that is why it's so important for us to allow the old to fall away and let go of the emotional attachment that we had to it, because obviously it's going to make that channel more difficult to cut off. Just taking a moment, if anybody needs to cut off any channels right now, just gonna take a moment of silence to breathe. Take one more breath, just really in from the diaphragm. I know for me, there's like so many things in my mind, and these thoughts in my mind, these thoughts in our minds are almost like tiny little micro channels looking to latch on and tether to any emotion they can so that they can become stronger. So that's why it's so important for us to allow our mind to be a place where we can observe and we don't necessarily have to react unless we are wanting that energy to be realized. Because again, every thought is like a tiny strand shooting out from our head, and you're gonna all the cords, all of them. I'm sure there are some good ones, but hey, if you feel like there are too many and you just feel led to start over, one thing I will say, at least have one strong cord, and that is your belief system. Your belief system, you might not realize how much emotions you really pour into it, because at a time it just becomes a natural part of you, and that's a big part of the spiritual awakening, right? Your belief system changes, the way that you see the world changes. You're cordless, you're floating. Wayward, you're crazy, bro. But when you hopefully have at least a solid belief system, you need to have at least like one anchor. Why? Why? Because I don't want any weird entities come in trying to snatch you up, feeding anything into your mind. And I'm just gonna ask that all of, God's given angels and anointed beings, shine down on your mind so that when you do have a thought and you want to create a new channel, you can allow yourself to trust and build it and pour that emotion of excitement. And that emotion of excitement is great for sparking your solar plexus and inspiring you to make that first move so that it can be realized in this world. Isn't that fun? Isn't that exciting that you can literally create the world you want? I know that the Matrix and a lot of life makes it seem like you can't. Like, things are as they are. And you're cutting these cords so that you can use that energy and direct your attention and use your emotion to strengthen that channel. The more emotion you pour into any idea, aka channel, that has that vibe that you can feel, the stronger it becomes. And sometimes the harder it is to cut it. If it is a negative energy, the harder it is to cut it. And that's okay. Don't have to be frustrated. Don't have to pour any more emotion. You know the drill. Allow yourself to observe compassionately. Call upon your guides. Praise to God. And God will help you, okay? Replace or alchemize that channel so that it can best serve you. But yeah, I think that this has helped me a lot. I'm still learning a lot about channeling, but the most important thing I can say is that, wow, your mind literally is like a tether. Throw the anchor wherever you want, pour those emotions in, and you make that rope stronger, and you allow it to come towards you naturally. We're talking about emotion, energy, and motion, and cords. Yeah, it's a season. I have been learning a lot about going with the seasons, and I'm really excited next year to explore connecting with nature more. Quite literally, my friends, I have been like, things happen, they blow my mind. I just learned that you can use electromagnetic frequency and you can hone it in with copper wires to increase your food production if you are growing any kind of plant. It doesn't have to be a produce bearing plant. You can use this to help any plant become more resilient. And that is crazy. And it just goes to show, and I'm very excited. I'm already scheming my next experiment with that, but the world is a magic place. And I say that just to say that a lot of the habits that we have them out of convenience. And we have to cut that cord. And the more that you cut that convenience cord and you choose to go a little bit difficult, a little bit maybe the road less traveled, the more rewarding it will be at the end of the day. And you will also be building a habit of no longer falling into the pit, the slum of convenience, because you know that that's not what your channel, the soul that God has given you here for this earth experience, wants at this time. And that's why you're watching this. Like, that's why I'm channeling this information, and that's why we're here, so that we can connect and we can create a higher vibrational channel. And I believe that we all are connected. There is a channel that our soul is tethered to, and it is connected to our mission here on earth. And when I think about it, and I don't know about you, but I just feel this strong belief that, I'm here for a reason. It's to raise the vibration of the world. It's to really experience these high vibrating emotions and connect in a way that my body is still craving, because my soul knows that there is more beyond this, and I'm excited to see what it is, and I'm gonna let that go. That's the fun thing. If you hold too tightly onto the channel, especially when it comes to an experience that you want to experience in this physical reality, you hold on to it, it cannot actually realize itself in the physical because you're holding on to it too tightly in the spiritual, in the mental, in the emotional. And because of that, it just doesn't have the space to let itself retrieve that physical manifestation, go to the timeline where it is supposed to be, so that it can come upon you in divine timing. So we live in a world, it's literally so infinite in its possibilities, and we have the ability to draw upon these possibilities to do miracles. So I hope that this encourages you to now think about the miracles that you'd like to experience in this life. And once you have those, that thought, it tethers out, it anchors in, and then comes to your heart, where the emotions that you feel around this mission, around this vision, around this experience can grow. And as it grows, grows, a part of it is letting it go, observing it for what it is, and trusting that as you let go of mentally and physically and emotionally what you're holding on to, have this confidence and trust that yes, the Creator has made you with this ability, and the more you hold in, the more you practice, and the more you explore this energy and what you're wanting to bring into reality, the easier and easier it becomes. So let's just close today by setting that intention. And I totally feel led to, tap into and assist you using light language to be clear that our tether, what we're thinking in our mind, is really being clear, and hopefully it will assist you as you go about your soul's mission, as you bring forth what it is you're here to create. And yeah, let's just go into it. Allow yourself to bring to mind into your heart to feel. Asking your soul if it has any words of affirmations to leave you. And with the next inhalation, allow yourself to fully realize, to any extent you feel led, exhaling, we release the intention, the cord, so it can naturally grow as it is meant to be. Thank you for joining this live stream and for doing such powerful energy work with me. I really appreciate it, being able to be a channel, explore this energy with you, and see what comes from it. Again, we drop any expectations of timelines. Some say it helps them, and if it helps you, then feel free to write down anything that came to mind during this short but powerful transmission. Personally, my soul is sharing the affirmation: be still and know that I am God. I feel no urge for anything that I desire, because deep inside me, I know I have everything I desire, and I am so thankful for that. I thank you for joining, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the day, that you do what you said that you're going to do, and that you stay true to your soul and your mission here on earth. I love you, I appreciate you,